Hello, welcome to That's Runnable. You joined me today outside in Washington State. It's about 5:30 in the morning, and last night was the only night so far that I would call a pretty bad night's sleep, and it was mainly because of the mosquitoes. Just getting absolutely attacked by mosquitoes. Still kind of am now, but they really wanted to get in my roof tent, and they did successfully, because there's a big hole in the net, and yeah, kept me up, buzzing past my ears. It is extremely quiet here, extremely quiet. If you are watching on YouTube or Spotify very soon, everything does go up on YouTube, by the way, if you want video format. So if you're here on YouTube and you're watching, you can see I'm making a coffee before I sit down. The sun is just coming up as well. I'll show you that. It should come up here. So as we chat away, I'll just get my coffee. As we chat away, hopefully the sun will come up behind me. And that's cool, isn't it? Okay, so we are not far out. Let me just set this up. Here we go. So, we are not far out from Devil's Gulch, 100 miler. Not far out at all. Only a few days. And I've been out here in Washington State, in the Cascades, mainly in the Eastern Cascades, a little bit up north. Right now I'm kind of near Lake Chelan, which is further north from where I'll be racing. But it is a beautiful place. I was recommended it by a few people whilst I've been out here. So I've come up, and it is a real proper lake vibe, proper American lake vibe. Yeah, what a place. I am blown away by this place. It's beautiful. It is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, Washington State. The driving that I've been doing has been just, yeah, so nice. Anyway, it's been a wild trip. I've been out here in nature, in the outdoors, properly just like dirtbagging it, as you say. But not really, because I've got quite a nice setup here. Look at this rig. I've got a Jeep Wrangler with a roof tent, which is really cool. So I've been pretty much living out the back of the Jeep. I haven't really gone out to eat much at all. I've just been cooking my own food from the back of the Jeep, pasta, wraps, various different bits, and just camping in campgrounds. And then I've been doing a little bit of work when I can, when I get like a good amount of 4G or 5G, and then I'll just hotspot. And like the other day, I just sat by a river, a beautiful river, and just hotspotted from my phone, and then did like 3 or 4 hours of decent work. So that was mad. But it's been a crazy trip. It's all amazing because it's beautiful. Everything about this place is just next level. But also, I am completely alone. I am completely solo doing this. And it's about 2 weeks that I'm like solo. And then at the end of that trip, I'm doing a 100 miler. So a lot of time in my own head. And I definitely wouldn't have been able to do this a few years ago because you really do just spend, obviously you're just spending time with yourself. I mean, as someone who's relatively extroverted, I get my energy from being around people quite a lot. I do need my time alone, but it's very intense. I find my time alone, and maybe I'm not different, maybe it's the same for everyone, but I find time alone like this very intense. But it's been nice, and I wouldn't say I've like thought a lot. You know, when people say when you go away, you go solo on some trip and you get time to think. I guess that's true. For me, it's more you just get time to, you just get the opportunity to just be, just exist. And that's what I love about this kind of trip, to be honest, is that I really do feel like I'm just sort of out in the elements and just existing. And I haven't applied too much pressure on myself to do much work over this period of time, which is nice. I mean, last week I basically didn't do any because I just decided I'm gonna just take a week. Haven't kind of stopped at all since I quit my job in November to just go full time on the coaching and on making content on the podcast and on everything that I'm trying to build out. Since I went solo and all of that, I have just been on it the whole time, head just always thinking about it. And I think it's important to just every now and then just completely switch off. And when I got here, I didn't intend to fully do that, but when I got here, I just felt I felt like this, I felt called to take a holiday. No, I just felt strongly that I need to just actually take some time off, like properly just switch off, disappear. And so I did that pretty much all of last week, and it was amazing. And I'm getting absolutely swarmed by mosquitoes right now. And it was amazing. It was awesome. I'm gonna get some mosquito spray. And yeah, this last week has been a time where I've been able to fully switch off, and that's been important because I am the sort of person who would run myself into burning out, and we don't want that. So yeah, a good rest before the ultra. What else can I say about it as well? It's just been the most beautiful spot. It's been, yeah, America is fascinating to me because, you know, like everyone, I grew up with a lot of American culture on TV, in the media. A lot of stuff that I love has come from North America. A lot of stuff that I think is cool has come from America. But also just many TV shows and films and all this sort of stuff you watch are American. So you come to America, and I've only been to the States, I think 3 times now, 4 times maybe, if you count like a really quick trip. And so I've only seen it a handful of times. But when I am in the States, more than any other place in the world, I get this feeling of, wow, the stuff I was watching on TV and film and all this stuff, wow, it's real. It actually is. It actually is here. America is a real place. And it is a place like no other place. America has its own way of doing things that is just not the same anywhere else. And that to me is fascinating. Just the way the towns and cities are laid out, yeah, the culture of freedom and doing what you want because you can, all of that stuff is fascinating to me as a sort of voyeur. I don't love American culture. I don't love the greediness of more is better and big is better, and the extravagance of everything for the sake of the fact that you can. You know, the lack of, the somewhat lack of consideration for, you know, how your presence, you know, affects others. It's very loud. America's very loud. It's very unapologetically loud. There's something beautiful about it in that sense. But I don't want to, you know, there are just some things that there are some things that lack taste, and there are just some sort of tourist attractions and some amazing things that are turned into attractions in America, and the way they do it is very unique. It's different from anywhere else I've been, is what I'm saying. But I absolutely adore this country because it is so beautiful. I was in Yosemite last year, blown away by the scenery there. I'm here now. It's such a beautiful place. And there are massive parts of America that are just world-class, unbelievably beautiful places. And the culture in that specific place of enjoying the outdoors and embracing it. Here, you know, there are just these amazing rigs. People driving past with their trucks with mad, huge rigs on the back and all sorts of stuff just prepared for just enjoying the outdoors. And you come to a place like this is a campground, and there is no one here. I had to drive here over some pretty sketchy roads on the edge of a cliff, but you eventually get here, and it is a campground built for people to come and camp here. It's free. It's quite out in the sticks, this one. No signal, nothing. But it's just all made for people to come and just like enjoy. It's sort of, obviously wild camping is the ultimate in terms of getting out into the actual sort of wilderness and then just dropping a ground tent down. But if you've got a Jeep or anything like this, America is really the place where you can properly enjoy something like that. Like the UK, if you've got like a van or whatever, you're just driving up to campsites, or you're trying to find a spot in a unique, you have to really work hard to find a spot in the Lake District, for example, that you'd be allowed to just like ruck up to. Yeah, I'm just saying that the approach to the outdoors here and how you can enjoy it, that the way it's sort of laid out and set up is awesome. I was camping in the woods the other day, and it's like dispersed camping, and I didn't really know what the crack was, and then I sort of turned up, like I googled it, and I turned up and I realised that there, you know, you come off the interstate and then you go into these woods, and then you're driving down like a gravel service road, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And then you see someone sort of like stopped off in a spot that is clearly people have camped in before, and you're like, oh, that looks like a real spot that people like go to. And you keep going, and then there's another spot and another spot with people in it. And you realise all of these spots where people along this service road in the woodland are just camping. These are the sort of designated sort of dispersed camping spots, and there's nothing like built up about them. There's just maybe a few rocks in a circle to indicate where the fire would be, and maybe a log to sit on, and an area generally that people would sort of put their ground tents and stuff or park up. And it's just people like wild camping, but fairly close to each other, like maybe 200-300 meters away from the next person down the road. You don't know, so you feel extremely alone, but you also know that there are other people just sort of camping in there. You know, you're not breaking any rules. You've just found this spot, and it's just the way it's set up in America. And I found this out in Yosemite. It was a really unique, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but there was a really unique way Yosemite National Park was set up. And it was sort of turned a little bit too much into an attraction. Like, it wasn't wild enough, you know. And you could argue that about this, but the convenience of being able to drive here, and there's a restroom there, and I've just pulled up and we just sat by this lake, and I just slept here last night. There's no one about. The convenience of having the gravel road to pull up from is great. And yeah, it makes it all very easy and very enjoyable. All the campgrounds have been super easy. I got a bit worried before the trip that I would not know what I was doing when it came to campgrounds, and I haven't booked in advance and all this sort of stuff. And I booked a few just in case. But generally, I've turned up to these campgrounds and there's always been a spot available for at least a night or even 2 nights. So that's been easy. So this has been that's been my sort of little review on. I could talk forever about the States. I'm fascinated by it. I am fascinated by it as someone who speaks their language but couldn't be more different from them in terms of my culture and attitudes, because I grew up in the UK. Very different cultures, very different. We speak the same language, and we are influenced by each other. And my life has certainly been massively influenced by US-based media culture and pop culture and sport culture. And that's why I'm here. That is why I'm here today. I'm here because I was ultimately influenced a long time ago by American outdoors ultra trail culture. It is that brought me here, and it's thanks to an introduction from Josh from Borderlands to Porter over at Evergreen Trails, who run Devil's Gulch, who put on Devil's Gulch. There was an introduction there, and it just was the most perfect kind of mission for me to go on. Yes, I want to do 100 miles. I've been wanting to do 100 miles for a while. I've wanted to do one in America. I haven't known which. I want the vibe of like a grassroots, a small grassroots kind of ultra trail 100 miler in the States that I can go to, that's not got this huge fanfare, that sort of really encapsulates almost the 100-mile distances, those 100-mile races. People that were putting them on, and only a few people would turn up. Like you wouldn't have loads of people at the start. And so I love that idea. I love the idea of being in North America, the birthplace of ultra trail running, and going to an ultra marathon, a 100 miler, with like fewer than 30 people participating. It will be a bigger event because of the half marathon and 50 miler, but just the vibe. I'm here for the vibe. And yeah, I will say I've been influenced a lot by North American outdoors culture. There's a lot of brands that come from America that I love. I was in a store the other day, and it was really interesting to me. I was in this outdoors store, and all of the brands that I love, that I use, but I can't buy in store and have to buy online. Not that I even noticed that, because I get everything online. But I do notice that the stock in the shops is very different here, of course. and they have like loads of Carvu, loads of Patagonia. They've got like loads of Petzl. We don't really stock Petzl. What else did they have that I noticed? Oh yeah, in the shoes area, they had Ultra, ALTRA. They had Ultra, which I've spoken about a lot, and I used to love wearing all their shoes. I still wear a couple of their shoes. And just seeing Ultra in store, I was like, look, that you never see that. And then just across from it, there were only 4 brands represented. Just across from it was Topo Athletic, which is like a really small and up and coming ultra competitor. The fact they had Ultra and Topo, and that was the 2 of the 4 represented, was nuts to me. The other was Brooks, and I think they had Nike. Oh, I can't remember now. But yeah, they had some. I'm getting attacked by mosquitoes. Sorry, but yeah, they had some real unique brands, and I guess they just have brands that are big out here, and I've been influenced by brands that do extremely well out here. I will pick up on that and I'll get them over in the UK. So that's just another little anecdote of how I've been influenced by American outdoors and ultra trail culture. I mean, I think everyone, when they really look into it, they'll realise how influenced they have been. Even my Salomon race pack, that's influenced probably by, Courtney Dauwalter wearing it. Although Salomon, I believe, is a European brand, but anyway, I don't really know what I'm saying. I really was coming on here to talk to you about the race prep that I'm doing, so we can talk a little bit about that. I am tapering at the moment, so I've just been basically going on sort of run hikes. So I'll hike / run the runnable, but mainly marching up for 40 minutes or so, depending on what I'm doing. 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and then I'll run down. I like an out and back when I'm in the wilderness or when I'm somewhere I don't know. Out and backs for me, that just makes a lot of sense. If I really do know an area and I feel confident to do a loop, then I'll do one, but usually out and backs is the way I like to do it when I'm traveling. And so I'll just do that, and it's easy for me to calculate how far and how hard I'm pushing. But really, I'm just trying to keep the legs moving before the race, which is on the 12th, and today is the 8th, so not long. 8 days. Not 8 days. Wow. I want to remind you that it's still only 10 past 6. Yes, not 8 days. It is the 8th, and it's happening on the 12th. So, wow, 4 days. Yes, which is quite daunting. But yeah, I'll go out on maybe I'll do something today, a little sort of hike run thing, and then I'll have a pre-race run as well. Yeah, maybe the day before. But I'll head up to Mission Ridge in a couple of days. I've got my race strategy all down, to be honest. I just need to have a look at it. What I've done is I've just looked at every aid station, every drop bag. I've calculated, how much fuel I need to put in each drop bag and how much I'm going to pick up from each drop bag. Because I'll see each drop bag twice, I think. Or at least 3 of the drop bags I'll see twice. So I want to make sure I know what I'm doing in terms of like what am I picking up each time I go. So yeah, I'll lay that all out at Mission Ridge a couple of nights before, make sure I've got everything, and then it's go time. And then I feel good about it. It's going to be extremely hot. It is very, very hot here. It's like 35 degrees. But I'm hoping that up in the hills it's a bit cooler. But yeah, it will be a very hot race. It's going to be tough. Excuse me. Yeah, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be hilly. It's about 6, I think it will end up being about 6,500 meters of climbing. But we never know. It might be less than, it might be 6,000. I always find my chorus measures more than the route initially says. Anyway, and it should be relatively runnable. There are some technical sections, I know, but it should be relatively runnable. The aid stations are well packed up, so I have a lot of fruit and peanut butter jelly sandwiches. And yeah, I just can't wait. I cannot wait to do it and then to get the belt buckle at the end. It's going to be a real journey. I will say that being on my own in this area, sometimes I am sort of looking over my shoulder, just making sure there's no animals. Because I'm not used to being in, I'm actually not used to being in the outdoors where there are any threatening animals. Yeah. You get like marmots in the Alps. They'll bite you if they feel threatened. But they are harmless. And you got squirrels in the UK. That's about it. Alright. I am getting attacked here. I wanted to just jump on and do a bit of a low-key, fun one. To all those who are actually dedicated to listening to this kind of episode. To be honest with you, I just wanted to chat in front of that backdrop. But I'm going to hopefully try and get this out in the next couple of days before I do the race. And then I'll do the race, and then I'll do like a recap of the race afterwards. But I don't have much to share about the race itself. It's a 100 miler. It's a dream come true. I've been wanting to do a 100 miler in the States, especially for many years. This is like what I got into ultra running to do. Is to one day run 100 miles, and I fell in love with the process of ultra running. I fell in love with doing ultras, fell in love with European ultra culture, and I started making content, and it changed my life. This whole pursuit to run 100 miles, this whole effort to try and just go further with my running, it has changed my life. And making content and putting it out there to you, listeners like you, viewers like you, you're the reason I do this, and you are the reason I'm able to do this. Like if you guys weren't listening, if you guys weren't watching, if you didn't back what I put out there, then I wouldn't be able to have this opportunity. And so, you know, I want to always show you guys that I appreciate that. I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how to show you how grateful I am for the fact that I have this life. Let me take a moment for a second. I feel very lucky. I have my anxieties, I have my stresses, I have all of that stuff like everyone. But I feel extremely lucky. And when I've been on this trip, I have felt overwhelmingly lucky. This place is stunning. It is stunning. It's like in a movie if it switched to the scene, the paradise scene. They'd have shot it here. It would flick to a scene in Washington State where you've got a river with big boulders, you know, white water river with like turquoise blue between the white and then the mountains in the background and blue sky. This is heaven. And I feel extremely lucky when I'm here. I have felt extremely lucky. And it occurred to me the other day, I was like, I never want to come across like I seem like I'm taking this for granted, because there is not a second where I'm taking this for granted. Genuinely, there is not a second. And like I feel extremely lucky to be out here, to be enjoying this, to be able to do a trip like this. It's honestly like it's a lifetime dream trip, you know, to just drive around this area in a Jeep and just like live out the back of it and spend time alone. Like I'm fully aware of how lucky I am to have that, and I want to show you guys that. But it's not always easy to show you guys that, but I want to. And I want to, yeah, I tell you this really strange anecdote and then I'll leave you. When I was 18, I did some voluntary work in my year out. After school and before university, I took a gap year and I did some voluntary work, and I lived out in Peru for 6 months, and I worked with people who were out in the rural areas or the urban areas that we were based, and we helped them with various things, but we would teach members of the sort of farming community in the rural areas how to farm more sustainably, and we teach them how to teach others, and there's some good work being done there. And then we worked with inner city school kids and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I saw a lot of poverty in that time. And then a couple of years later, I went to South Africa and I worked for 3 months on a very different project in KwaZulu-Natal, in a township there, and I saw a lot of poverty again. I saw a lot of people who had just much less than what I was used to people having. And I'm still connected with some of those people. And I remember leaving both those places, leaving both Peru and South Africa, specifically because of the work I was doing out there and the engagement that I had with people who had very much less than me. I remember leaving those places and thinking, they must be so envious of my life and what I have. And I mean that. What I mean by that is they would surely covet the fact that I have an amazing education. I have, all of this stuff, material or otherwise, all of this stuff available to me, all of these opportunities available to me. I have a powerful passport. I have the ability to travel, all this sort of stuff. I live in a country with a strong currency, with a strong economy, relatively speaking, and all of this stuff is great opportunity. And I remember it occurring to me that if I were them, and I was given the opportunity that I have, I would make the most of it. I would just live my life in the way that I now knew I could. Because a lot of people take opportunities for granted, or they don't grasp certain opportunities, and they don't live life as fully as they possibly can. My aim and my mission for years now has been to try my hardest to maximize my life, my experience of my life. And by that I mean doing something I feel passionate about, that gives me meaning and brings me purpose of some kind, traveling as much as I can, seeing the world, prioritizing experiences over cash hoarding. All of these things are, for me, things that I've tried to do to maximize my experience of life. And part of that has been putting myself out there, making content, and saying yes to opportunities. And it has all sort of come together in some way. And I am never for a second am I taking that for granted. And I feel just so grateful that I am doing my best to make the most of the opportunities that I was afforded. I've had so many opportunities in my life that that many other people don't have, and I don't want to live this life that I'm living, which is amazing because I have great health, I have a great girlfriend, I have a great family, I have great friends, I'm able to travel a lot, I have freedom over my time ultimately, for the most part. I'm working hard at work worth doing. That is stuff that dreams are made of. And I am just extremely, extremely grateful for all of it. And I don't think I've communicated myself very well there. There was a much bigger point to that last point that I didn't make, but I guess I just want you to know that I'm so grateful for the life I have. I'm grateful for you guys, and I am grateful for myself for putting in a huge amount of work over the last 10 years of my life to try and get to a place where I'd be happy. And a lot of luck has come my way, and it's taken a lot of inner work. I don't think that can be left unsaid, but it's been a crazy 10 years, man. I feel very grateful to be in a place I'm at because I've been in the opposite place, and sometimes when I'm in places like this, in environments like this, I reflect on how happy I am, how lucky I am, how amazing life is, how beautiful it all is. And even though I have certain stresses and things going on in the back of my head, lots happening in my life at the moment and lots of things to be stressed about, obviously. But sometimes I think about the times before, and they were tough times. So I guess I would want anyone listening to just know that tough times are temporary, and that it is possible to get to a point where you're having a great time. And swings and roundabouts. I should make the most of this because it's not always going to be like this. Alright. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that one. Wish me luck at Devil's Gulch. I'll see you in a week or so with a bit of a recap. And I'm going to a wedding in Scotland straight after I get back, so it might be a couple of weeks after the dust has settled until I do a recap. I'm feeling good about it. Feeling good. Thanks for listening. Run the runnable. Look after yourself. What did I say? What did I usually say? Run the runnable. Keep showing up for yourself. And I will see you next time.